Hi everyone and welcome. Leslie is here with me. Probably her last live chat with us in a while. Give me just a second and I'm going to get the live chat going here on screen. Let me know as you come in. And let's see. We're on live chat. All messages are visible. So let me know as you join in who's here and where you're watching from and what your weather's like, and then we'll get started in a few minutes. If this is your first time in one of our chats, I'm Lorella. This is Leslie. This is one of my two beautiful daughters. Both of my daughters are beautiful. I only have two. Not like I have two beautiful daughters and then some that aren't. And we are going live from southern Missouri. We have had weird weather today. We had nice weather for a couple days, and then today it's been rainy off and on, and it looks like nobody is in here. So I'm wondering, do you have your phone with you, Liz?
I do.
Can you check it out? Make sure that we can be seen and heard, please.
Sure.
Thank you for hanging out with us tonight, and we'll get it going here pretty quick. So if you're here, who's watching? Where are you watching from? What's your weather like? If your channel name is different than your first name, I'd love it if you share your channel name with me too. All right, looks like there's 3 people here now. So, okay, yeah, you're in?
I'm in.
Okay, go ahead and log out then. All right, and I do have live chat on, but I don't see any comments yet.
Nobody's commenting.
Nobody's commenting. Nobody wants to say where they're from. And see, the numbers are going up and down too, which is kind of weird.
Well, down because I left.
True.
You only had 3. Oh.
Hello, are we still there? I was trying to get, I was on, but a phone call came through, so hopefully that didn't knock us out. Can you please text her and tell her
Yes.
that we're on a live chat and can't talk on the phone right now? All right, are we still here with you guys? So I'm going to ask you, I saw T-E and L-Y. Is that 2 first names? Like one of you guys starts with a T and somebody else starts with a L-Y, like Ted and Linda or something like that? Or is it Telly? Or is it something else altogether? I'm just kind of curious. You've been making a couple comments on my video, and I've wondered that every time I see that name. If you don't mind sharing with us, that'd be great. If you'd rather keep it personal, that's fine also. So today we're gonna do a chick update. We're also gonna do some updates with I can't even think. Time management, screen time, productivity talks that we've had before, and I'm going to come back to it and talk about how those things are going. So for those of you who have been around, for those, I'm happy to give updates. And I want to say hi, Liz. Hi, Gary. And so Liz is she only popped in long enough to say hello and goodbye. So good night, sleep well. She's in the UK, and if you don't watch her channel, you should. It's Liz Zorab by their farm. And she's got a great little homestead over there with a gorgeous garden, and she's got ducks and chickens and sometimes turkeys and sometimes other kind of fowl. And I really enjoy watching her. We don't have much of an audience tonight, but we've got 2 people here. No, that's fine, Liz. Go ahead and head off to bed. It's fine. I haven't had much problem with trolls or anything, so I think we'll be okay. So I guess I will start off tonight talking about a chick update. I want to say Thursday, I think it was, I posted a video because I had chicks and turkey poults that were dying, and I didn't know why, and it was just a short little video, and I just put out there, and I'm like, help, what would you guys do? What do I need to do? How can I make this situation better? Hey Cheryl, thanks for popping in tonight. And we had so I started off, for those of you who didn't see that video, I started off with I think 11 birds. I had 2 ducklings, 4 turkey poults, and then 5 chicks. And one day I came in, I saw one of my turkey poults was kind of trying to fly a little bit. And I had the ducklings in a separate brooder because of the water issue. I know they get water everywhere, and I didn't want the chicks wet, so that wasn't an issue. And then I had the turkeys and chicks together, and I saw one of the turkeys kind of do a little test flight with his wings, and I thought, oh no, I need to get some chicken wire on the top of the brooder. So, well, when I did that, I raised the light up, and then the next morning I came in and 2 of the chicks were dead, and I thought it was probably they got cold and they all kind of huddled together and then they got smothered. But then, so I made adjustments to the light and everything. The next day I came in and a little tiny chick had a prolapsed vent and it was bleeding out the back, and it was really sad, and there was a dead turkey. So then I started freaking out, and I had to dispatch that chicken. And so I'm trying to remember if it was that day or the next. I don't know. So, oh, I know what I did. I took out their food because I thought, well, maybe I used a different kind of feed than I normally have for our starter. I took out their food and I gave them some crushed up eggshell. I moved their brooder location from the garage into the laundry room where they're closer to where our living space is, and they seemed to perk up and be doing really good. And then the next morning, they were fine. That evening they were fine. The next morning they were fine. The next afternoon, I came home and there was a turkey with a prolapsed vent. So then I really started being like, I don't know what I'm doing. There's something really wrong here. So I put it out there, and a lot of people said, separate the turkeys and the chicks. Make sure to get a high protein feed for the turkeys. Make sure they have plenty of space. So I ended up, right now have 4 brooders going. So I have a big kiddie pool with chicken wire in it for 2 ducklings. I have a big Rubbermaid tote for 2 of the turkey poults. I have a large cardboard box for 3 chicks, and then I have a smaller Rubbermaid tote, which the one turkey, the yellow turkey with the prolapse vent, I cleaned it off. I wasn't able to get it back in, but I decided I didn't want to dispatch her if I didn't have to. So I was like, I'll clean her up and see how she does. And she just kept getting better. And so then she was lonely though, because she would talk back and forth with the turkeys. And so I picked one of the yellow chicks and put her in there. So I have a yellow chick and a yellow turkey together. And I told Chris, I said, I'm putting these 2 together because they look most alike, so maybe they'll think they're sisters. And Chris started laughing at me, and he goes, yeah, because they have a mirror and the turkey knows what it looks like. I thought, oh yeah, I guess that's true. So that was last Thursday that I did that, and 4 different brooders, and I went and bought turkey. We don't actually, none of our stores carry turkey feed. What they carry is a game bird feed, which has 24% protein as opposed to regular chick starter, which has 18% protein. So since then, everybody is thriving. Everybody is about to outgrow their brooders, and I need to either make some tractors or figure out something with the grow out pen. My outdoor grow out pen, I have moved chicks, the teenage chickens, from the grow out brooder into the laying flock. They have been free ranging together during the day, but then going back to their separate coops at night. And so I kept moving the teenage chickens over into the laying coop, and the next day they'd find their way back. So we put up we have yellow electric fencing but no charger, like the bird netting. So it wasn't very effective. The birds were getting out. And then I found in the garage I had some orange bird fencing that's not electric, but the holes are smaller. They're like 2x2 or 3x3 holes. And so I put that up with stepping posts inside there, and then they still flew out over that. So then I clipped their wings the third night we tried it. And after clipping their wings, yesterday there were 4 birds out at time to put them up. And then this morning, when I went out there, they were sleeping on the roosts with the laying flock, all the Matildas. All of our barred rocks are named Matilda, and most of them were up there, which is good because for the first few nights they kind of slept on the corner in the floor, and we would put them in on the roost, and then they would hop off and go to the floor. So this morning most of them were on the roosts, and only one Easter egger hopped out, and the rest of them stayed with the laying flock. So I think they're finally getting used to their home. So now I can clean out the grow out pen, and I think I'm going to move the ducks out there because the ducks are the ones that are growing the most quickly. Which is kind of surprising because I would think that the turkeys would grow more quickly, but maybe the ducks were older to begin with. I don't know. So I think we're going to move the ducks out there, and then I can clean out that kiddie pool, which is rather large, and maybe put the chicks all together or something, and have a little bit, get fewer brooders, because it's making for, you know, a lot of feeding and a lot of cleaning of waters and a lot of changing out pine straw, because I've got 4 different things that I'm doing in 2 different places in the house. So it's been an adventure, but they are all alive and thriving. So I am so happy. So if you watched that video and if you gave advice, thank you so much. I'm going to take a quick second and read some comments and just see who's in the house. Hello, Sam Teller. Hello, Smith Family Ranch. Thanks for joining. Glad you guys are here, and we still have, I'm not sure how to say it, Telly Thurston. All right, thank you. Yeah, I'm so glad they are doing better. It's sorry, I'll just let that go in. That's on. So that is one thing that's going on. Les, can you kind of keep an eye on time for me, or can we put your phone up here so I can see the time? Oh, yes. So Tamara is just joining us tonight. Hey, Tamara. And she's saying happy anniversary. It's Chris and I, our 26th wedding anniversary. And I see we're down to 2 people. Is my signal bad? Is my sound bad? Or is it people are just popping off because they have other things to do? So if you're still here, can you hear and see me? All right. All right. So Timmy, hi Timmy. Okay, I'll try to remember that. Thank you for telling me that. I try to get learn people's first names. I'm not always successful at remembering it, but I really try hard to. So I should be able to remember that. What time did you say it was? 5:30. Okay, so let's go back several live chats ago and kind of catch up on some other things, other topics that we've talked about. So I don't even remember how long ago, several weeks, maybe a couple months ago, I talked about the 5-second rule. So, and it's not the one about the food on the floor. It's, she calls it a life hack or a productivity hack, a brain hack. That's what she calls it, a brain hack. The person who brings that up is Mel Robbins. And so you can watch my video about it. You can also Google her. She's got phenomenal stuff. But the basic thing she says is that in any time when you get that little like nudge, oh, I need to do this, or like you want to stop hitting the snooze. So you decide that you are going to get up when your first time your alarm goes off every morning, right? So the next morning your alarm goes off, and what do? Within like 5 seconds, you're like, oh, I don't really want to get up. I'm a lot more tired than I thought I would be. I really don't need to get up that early. It won't hurt, right? So you hit the snooze again. So she's saying anytime with anything in your life, you have about 5 seconds from the first time the opportunity arises to do something, some behavior that you want to change, until your brain will talk you out of it. And so to conquer that self-defeating talk that your brain does, she says to count backwards in your head, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then do whatever it is. So let's say it's, when I go out to dinner, I'm going to order water instead of soda every time. So when the waitress comes and says, what can I get you all to drink? And everybody's placing their order, and you feel yourself say or think, maybe I'll just get a soda, that you've got to stop it. You switch your brain thinking from its natural way tendency that it goes, and you do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 in your head, and then you say, I'll take a water, please. So you act on it right away. So you stop wherever your brain's going with it, and you start a new habit. And she talks about how to use that in situations where you have anxiety. I went into this really in depth several live streams ago. And so some of the things that I was going to do, I don't even remember for sure. One was get up when my alarm goes off. One may have been exercise every day. I'm not sure. But both of those things are not happening yet. So then a few weeks later after that, we talked about screen time because I had been watching and listening to some self-help videos, some TED Talks and different things about the effects of screen time and how that affects your creativity, and how the inverse is true, that the less screen time you have on your phone, the less distractions you have on your phone, how much you have increased productivity. And so there's a live chat about that where we talk about screen time. And I had been averaging about 8 hours a day of screen time on my phone alone. So that would be like watching YouTube videos. A lot was watching YouTube videos, playing games, social media. Those were like my 3 biggest ones. So the first thing I did was take every game off my phone, and then I was going to decrease my screen time down to 5 hours a week, or 4. I wanted to cut it in half. And I think for a couple weeks I kept it right around 5. Guys, this week I'm up. This past couple weeks I'm back up to like over 8 hours a day. So I'm not doing really great with that one either. What else? I think those were the 2 major ones. You okay, baby girl? This poor kiddo has been so sick, guys. And I want to say hi, Elizabeth. I saw you pop in as Carly. That's okay. You can watch on either account. So those were some things that I wanted to change. Well, I've still been, listening to different things. And Timmy is asking, do I post about what time of days for live chats? My live chats are every Wednesday at 5:15, and I usually, sometime the day before or the day of, I will post it on Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube. I did not today, so that could be a reason that we have fewer people watching today. And Elizabeth asks if today's our wedding anniversary. It is, and she shares it. So they are 9 years in. We are 26 years in. It is our wedding anniversary, yes. So that might be a reason that we have lower viewers today. It probably is. I just didn't get it posted. Just they got away with me. Was busy doing other things. Mm-hmm. So with the screen time and all of that, back to that. So I've been still listening to different motivational speakers, different people who talk about, things to do. And today I was watching somebody, poor Leslie, she's gonna lay down. She's feeling so puny, guys. And this person was saying, and so I kind of titled this video, I'll turn it this way since she's out of screen. There we go. Then I don't have to look at you sideways. I titled this video, so what do I do after, right? And that kind of actually was a little play on words, because one of the people that I watched recently, and this time I usually know who I've been watching, and I like share it with you guys so you can go look them up. But I don't know I forget what this person's name was. It was a man, and it was a TED Talk. That's all I know. And I don't even know if it was a TED Talk or not. Yeah, I think it was. So he was talking about how to make habits, how to make new habits. That if you want to change something in your life, then it needs to be a habit, right? So, which we all kind of know. And there's the kind of, we've heard that you have to do something like 31 days or something before it becomes a habit, right? Leslie says, no, it's 28 days. So basically like 4 weeks, a month. You got to do something for a month for it to be habitual. And so this guy was talking about how they they studied a bunch of people, and they figured out that for change to actually be manageable and sustainable long term, that they did what they called mini steps. So baby steps, and we've all heard of the baby step theory, you know, that you need to just make little small goals within you that will reach you to your greater goal. So, you know, if you want to be able to do 50 push-ups a day, you don't start with 50, you start with 1 or 2. When 1 or 2 gets easy, then you go to 4 or 5, right? And you gradually build up. So that was something that was not new to me. I'd heard that before. And but what he said was the key to being able to do it, whatever the little mini goal was, consistently, was to tie it to something else that was already a habit. So for instance, so using the word after. So after blank, I will blank. Hello, Cowgirl Jane. Thanks for being in the house. And I think that's it. So for instance, after I brush my teeth, I will floss. But he said, don't even like go to flossing your whole mouth, because that is too big. Like you have to take, so he's like, floss one tooth. And he's like, then when you get in the habit of picking up your floss and getting ready every day, then you can floss the whole bottom section or whatever. Then when that becomes habitual, but because you already brush your teeth, you know, hopefully you do, I do, brush your teeth a couple times a day, then you just have to tie a habit you already have. So Cheryl said, so after chocolate, I will do sit-ups. Yes, especially if chocolate is something habitual for you. If you have chocolate every day, then you say, after chocolate, I will do sit-ups. And so I was thinking about my screen time, and that maybe I would say, after dinner, I will turn my phone off. You know, something like that. So I think I might try that. That seems like it should be doable. And you know what's interesting is my kids are, what generation are you guys? You're not Gen X, you're millennials. I think Leslie's a millennial.
Carter's not.
And Carter's not. Leslie is born 99, Carter's in 01, so she's whatever comes after millennial. I don't know what the years are, but I think they're millennials. Both of them have no problem putting their phone down. They can like have it in the other room, have it upstairs, hang out with the family, watch a movie, play a game, never look at their phone once. I have an issue with it. A lot more than probably anyone else in the family. I don't know, maybe Chris too, but he can decide what he wants to do on his own. So it's a bigger issue for me that my phone is almost always within arm's reach. And whatever I'm doing, it's there with me. And Tamara says, it's our job. How is it our job that makes the phone tied to us? That's we are both sign language interpreters, my friend Tamara. So I'm interested to hear how you think that that's tied together. That is interesting. Do I do a all connect for what? For jobs?
No.
I don't understand the question. That's all right.
You get all your jobs through your phone, so you're always like,
oh yeah.
do I have another job?
Right. So I do get my jobs through my phone. So when I get emails or texts, a lot of times it's work related. But reality is, I could turn my phone off after dinner and then just check it right before bed or something like that. There's no reason that, especially because, you know, my dad passed 2 years ago, and so there's nobody that's critically ill or that, you know, and Chris will certainly have his phone on, or even maybe instead of turning it off, maybe I go plug it in the other room. So if we're in the living room or dining room, after dinner, I will plug my phone in the bedroom, right? So that's a simple little task that I could do, that I could tie it to that. And so I saw a couple questions come through, and we'll go back and talk to those, and then see. So Cowgirl Jane says, is it okay to add a new good habit after doing a rather bad habit? Not that chocolate is necessarily bad. I don't know, because I'm not an expert in it. He didn't qualify what kind of habit the first one had to be, whether bad or good. So well, you know, I would say like this. You could do this. You could say, after I drink a soda, I will drink an equal amount of water, right? So I guess in that way, you're drinking soda is not a good habit, but you're tying a good habit to a bad habit. So maybe, I mean, it's probably not. I don't know. Because you know, of course, we don't want to encourage ourselves to do bad habits in order to do good habits. But Tamara says it's better to have chocolate with sit-ups than without. Well, that's probably true. And it might have a lot to do with how much chocolate you have, because actually a small bit of dark chocolate is actually good for you. And then Tamara said the reason that we're so tied to our phones is because our phones is the way that we get income, which is right. And as independent contractors, a lot of times that's how it happens. Timmy says smoke a cigarette before going to the gym. Well, then you're starting a bad habit before a good habit. So, but if you're already a smoker and you say, after I have a cigarette, I will do X. I don't know. I'm not telling you should have any bad habits, but you know, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I would say that's a decision you will have to make for yourself. Yeah, I figured it was a joke to me. It was not. It was pretty funny. And then also Timmy asked, what is Leslie sick with? She has a chest infection. So it just started as chest congestion, but then it got all green and icky. So she's been on antibiotics for about 24 hours. We try not to rush to antibiotics. If we can get rid of it other ways without antibiotics, we will. But she starts college on Tuesday, and she's moving into a dorm type situation. I didn't want her. First of all, she's going to a program that is an overnight program, so her day is going to start at 3 p.m. and end at what time in the morning? 6 a.m. So I didn't want her to have to be adjusting to that new schedule, having a roommate, and hacking up nasty stuff all at the same time. And now I'm getting a tickle in my throat from talking about it. Excuse me for a second. Sorry. I'm having sympathy coughs. So she's just been miserable and exhausted and feverish and yucky. So hopefully she's on the mend though. She's been on antibiotics for about 24 hours. She's coughing somewhat less. We've done a lot of stuff. She's done a cool mist humidifier, Vicks on her chest and her feet, an expectorant to help her get the stuff out, cut up onions by the bedside because maybe they absorb some bad gunk out of the air. That's something that I don't know whether it's true. What else? An expectorant, I said that. Steamy showers. She's hung off the side of the bed to kind of help like gravity work its way out. And then poor thing, she was so congested, and one day she had a bad cough really bad and it popped her ear. So now she's got ear problems on top of everything else. So if you're a praying sort, please pray for her. We would really like her to be well before she heads off on Tuesday. She's staying in state, so we're glad about that. She's going to be within driving distance, and we'll come home on, probably not on weekends, but probably on vacations for sure. And she's nodding, yeah. And Mom H just joined us. Hello. And let's see what else. Timmy says you should have garlic with mushrooms and scallions cooked in butter over noodles. She says, don't really care for mushrooms. Yeah, I should make her some homemade chicken noodle soup. That'd probably be good for her. Maybe tomorrow morning I'll cook you some of that. She's giving me thumbs up. All right. Let's see. So we talked about the after. Yeah, so I think what I'm going to do, I think what I'm going to do is after dinner, put my phone in the bedroom. That's going to be the first one. I also want to, and somebody says emergency and airborne and elderberry syrup. I don't have any elderberry syrup. I need to get some. If you guys know a good source for it, let me know in the comments. And Leslie, you've been taking airbornes, right? Yeah, she's been doing airborne. All right, so people are giving lots of homemade tips for you. So we'll look at these later, and she says thank you. So I also want to test my alarm clock because I have an alarm clock by the bed and it's fantastic. It shines a light on the ceiling, which is amazing for me because I'm the type of person that I wake up several times a night and I have to check the time to know whether I'm like, because I will think I'm like late for something, and so I will have to and when I had to like turn over and pick up my phone or something, that was always a bad way to get back to sleep after that. But then I got this light that shines on the ceiling, so if I wake up at night, I just kind of look like that, and I'm like, oh, okay, and then I go back to sleep. So I love it. But the last time I used it as an alarm clock, the alarm didn't go off. So I don't know if I just didn't have it set or if we had a power outage or something like that. So hopefully it does work, and then I think I'm going to start plugging my phone in on my desk, which is on the other side of the bedroom. So do that overnight, use my alarm clock instead of my phone, and put my phone on the charger after dinner in the bedroom. And then that way, if it was an emergency and somebody called, I can always go check and see who's calling. So I think those are my two things. And then I was watching another video, and this man was talking about how time management is not an issue. His name was Dave something, and it was another TED Talk. And he was kind of interesting because he said that everybody has the same amount of time, that we all have 24 hours. Everybody has 24 hours. And that it's not time management that's the issue. It's giving the appropriate attention to the tasks that need to be done, or something like that. So one of his suggestions was that our brain gets stressed out with all the different tasks. Like anybody at any given time has like 30 to 100 to do things, and then each of those will have several little mini tasks to actually accomplish the goal. And so he was saying that if you your brain will be like, while you're doing something, oh yeah, I need to do this, oh yeah, I need to do that, don't forget about this, oh, and you got to find time for that, right? Which I don't know if you guys do that. I have like a constant running list in my head, checklist of stuff, and he said that that is actually wasting your brain time, and that your brain stresses out, and that when your brain is like throwing that stuff at you, that is telling you that you are not giving the appropriate attention to the things that need your attention. And that his suggestion was to always have a notebook to write in, and he's like, you can use a phone or whatever device, tablet, whatever, but whenever you have like your little brain's like, don't forget this, oh you're still working on this, oh you're to just write it down, and that you need to write everything that comes to your brain like that down, because that is something that's going to need your attention, but it's taking your attention away from whatever you're doing at the moment, so you're not able to fully focus on where you need to be focused on. So I thought that was kind of interesting, and he's like, you need to empty your brain, because your brain needs, you don't need more time in your day, your brain needs space. He called it something else, psychological something. It's like, I forget what the word was he used, but that basically you need to free your brain of that stuff that's going on in there, that don't forget this, don't forget that, you got to do this, you got to do this, and then we're going here, and then, oh, I got this thing I need to figure out how, I haven't quite figured out how I'm going to do that one, right? All that is like brain clutter. So basically you declutter your brain by getting this list down. And then he said, no, it wasn't pause, it was something else, like it wasn't dimension, but it was more like that, more like yeah, something like that. Yeah, I don't know. If I think of it, I will tell you. And so that when and then he said, but don't worry. Or no, he didn't say don't worry. He said something about how when you write it down, that will stress you out at first because your list is going to be forever long. It's going to be really, really long. And then you're going to be overwhelmed by that. But then he said, then go through that thing, those things, whatever they are that's niggling at your mind like that, and then figure out, okay, what is the next action step towards that end thing? So let's just say one of the things that has been on my mind has been moving these chicks around and getting them out, getting the ducks out to the grow out pen because they're stinking up my garage, to be honest with you, and all of that. And so if every time that came to my mind, I just wrote down chicks or I wrote down ducks and chicks or whatever, well, then ducks and chicks isn't an action step. But then when I sit down with the list and I can look at it and say ducks and chicks, okay, what is the very next thing I need to do? What's the next action step? The next action step for me is going to be cleaning out the little house that's in that grow out brooder where the teenage chickens have been living, cleaning that out and putting fresh pine straw in there, or pine, not straw, pine shavings, so that it will be a clean environment for the ducks to move into. So then I write that down. So then you have action steps to take, and then you can sort through those as you go along, and you can prioritize them and whatever. But what that does is it frees up your brain to actually focus on. So when you sit down at dinner with your family, you're not like, running through the chick thing in the back of your head or the duck thing in the back of your head the whole time. Or when you're sitting down to watch a movie with your family or play a game with your family, or you're at work and you can't even focus on work because you have to think of, I can't focus at work because I'm too busy thinking about whatever else. So what do you guys think? Do you think do you think that's doable to always have something to write with and to write it down? And how many things do you think you would have on your list at the end of a week? I'm kind of considering doing that between now and next Wednesday night's live. And then, next Wednesday night I'm going to be with you. No, Tuesday is your day you go to college. So I'll be back for Wednesday. Yeah, so for next one, maybe between now and next Wednesday night's live, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of things with Leslie leaving where I'm constantly thinking like, oh, Leslie might need to bring this. Oh, I wonder if she's got the, this or whatever. So I might try it. So what do you guys think about that? And if it's for me, make sure you put it in all caps. That way I'll be sure to see it. Let's see what we got. All right, and then what's the 12 spoon theory? I'm not familiar with that. All right, Cowgirl Jane says she uses color-coordinated composition notebooks, plus phone reminders, helps distractions. Uh-oh, sorry. I hate when I do that, when I try and read these. Very doable. I get about 100 things on the list at least. 100? See, that seems like it would be overwhelming to me. Is it overwhelming to you when your list gets that long? I usually have a to-do list in my phone and a grocery list in my phone. But I still always have little bitty things nagging in my mind. All right. Oh, so is 3 spoons like, how much of your, like 3 spoons of energy? Is that like that? Like how much of your energy it's going to consume to do your tasks? I just haven't heard of it, so it's all very new to me. It's very overwhelming. That's what I'm afraid of. So Tamara says, everything goes in Outlook and then I don't worry about it until the reminder comes up. So yeah, that's kind of what it is. It's like if you put it out here somewhere, then you have that your mind free to be creative or to come up with solutions or be with your family or whatever. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about doing. So for the next week, here we go again. Here's my let's break this down into many action steps that I can do after. Okay, so after dinner, I'm going to put my phone in the bedroom on the charger. Okay, that's one. I will test tomorrow, I will test my alarm clock. If my alarm clock works, I will plug in my phone, I will move my phone charger to my desk so it's not right by the bed. Okay, that's two. The third thing, I'm gonna have a notepad and a pen. After something comes to my mind, I will write it down immediately. All right, and then, all right, so I think that, so at some point during the week, I need to pick a time when I can look at my list and prioritize it. But for next, I'm not gonna worry about that till next week, actually. I will just do just the recording part. So those three things, okay. After dinner, I'll plug in my phone. I will use my alarm clock instead of my phone in the mornings so that I have to actually get up out of bed before I pick up my phone. And third, I'm gonna have a list going of everything that comes to mind. And so next Wednesday, I'm gonna report back with you guys and tell you how it went. Did it reduce my screen time? Did it reduce my feelings of stress? Did it increase my productivity? That's what we're gonna hope for. And then somebody else, do any of you use dot journals? I've heard a lot about dot journals. But I haven't ever used one of those. And then Tamara says she uses a calendar with a time slot. And that's pretty interesting. I had watched something recently that said, like, successful people don't use to-do lists, they'd use calendars. Because if you schedule something, you're more likely to do it than if you have a to-do list. And if you have a to-do list, you're likely to just keep adding stuff to the bottom of it. What's a dot journal? I don't know, other than I've heard a lot of people talk about how successful they are with them. So, what, Leslie? Leslie says they're also called a bullet journal. What is her name? Rebecca, that's usually in here. Rebecca from Flying VS Farm. She uses one. So if she were here, she could tell about it. But I think it has some kind of system, because I saw somebody say something or heard somebody say something about them recently. I think it has a way that you can go back and keep track of whether you've accomplished the things on your journal lists. But I don't know how they work. But I am intrigued by it. So I might check into those. I use a calendar in my phone. I think I will, if I start using a calendar instead of a to-do list, I'm going to have to add a new calendar to my phone so my family doesn't get blown up. Because my other calendar carries stuff like when I volunteer in the church nursery and what days I'm working and stuff like that. Not any confidential information about what I'm working, just what city and what date and time I'm working in. And I know they do not want to see my constant, like, work on the chicken coop at this time and plant in the garden at this time. Leslie's like shaking her head, no, she has no interest in seeing that. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe calendaring. Almost every year I buy like a big spiral calendar for my farm, thinking I'm going to keep track of everything, all the animals and the birds and the gardening and what's planted and all that in one place. I haven't done it yet. But maybe if I had a really good routine and said, after I get up each morning or after I plug in my phone at night on my desk, I will sit down on my calendar and write in what was done that day. Hey, that might actually work. Some kind of routine like that would work. Yeah, so we have iCal because we have iPhones, and you can do the same thing. So like we each have our own calendar, and then we can share it with each other, and we have a family one, and then I have like a medical one. And so yeah, I could just make a new one with my regular lists on it of my stuff that the family didn't really want to see. But I actually like writing stuff down. There's something cathartic in it for me, a pen and paper. The problem is I don't then usually refer back to that. So I need some kind of system in place. So no, it's just something to think about. So what strategies do you guys have? So I see some people are talking about using their calendars. What other strategies do you guys have to manage? And have you ever heard of this after thing? After. And I think some other people have joined in. So let me kind of scroll up and see who's here. Who came in? Oh, I guess if anybody did since Mom H, they haven't commented. Oh yeah, Vicky did. Hi Vicky. Welcome. So glad you're in the house tonight. Thanks for stopping by. All right, let's see. Elizabeth says, I set my alarm for when I need to move to the next morning routine. That way I get out. Oh man. I did it again this week, Elizabeth. Your messages, you gotta type shorter things because since I'm on my phone, the message comes up and then it goes away. And so I was trying to hit it to make it stay up instead of fade away, and I deleted it because I'm an idiot. And I did that last week too, to the same person. So something that I do sometimes is use timers. So if I have tasks at home that I want to get done and none of them are really appealing to me, I will do like 15 minutes on dishes, and then 15 minutes on laundry, and then 15 minutes on vacuuming, and then if the dishes aren't done, then I'll go back to 15 minutes. At the end of an hour, I take a 15-minute break and get some water. And Tamara says, what's the after thing? Is that like, what's the next best thing? No. What we were talking about, after dinner, I will put my phone away. You know, the after chocolate, we'll do sit-ups, whatever. Hi, Kathy. Thanks for joining. Yeah, we got about 15 minutes left, though. So we're talking about different ways of helping us make positive change in our life. So one of the ways that I learned this week is somebody that I was listening to said to make mini changes. So don't try and make like a big, huge change. Break it down into small changes, and to tie that new habit you want to form to something you already do. So I was talking about how and to use the word after. So after I blank, I will blank. So like after I put on my shoes, I will take the dog out for a walk or whatever. All right. So and mine is going to be after I have dinner, I will plug my phone up in the bedroom for the night. So to just kind of get it out, because I'm trying still trying to reduce my screen time because it's creeping back up there. I had it down to about 5 hours a day, and now it's back up over 8 hours a day again, which is just a ridiculous amount. That's a third of my life spent looking at this little phone I'm looking at right now. But this screen time, very worth it. I enjoy spending this hour with you guys so much. And I thank you for giving me an hour of your time every week when you could choose to do anything and you hang out with me. I appreciate that very much. And like I've said often before, I feel like you guys that come on Wednesday nights, you know me better than any of my other viewers, because you guys get the unedited, the raw, the real me, whatever I'm learning about, whatever life growth I'm into this week, whatever mess is going on in my life. So thank you guys so much for spending this time with me. All right, so what other strategies do you guys have? Hopefully I didn't time you out this time, Elizabeth. I did delete that message. She's gonna start getting a complex and think I do it on purpose. Hey, Rustic Traditions is in the house. Lucy, right? I think it's Lucy. She says, I'm on a screen of some kind for most of the day. Yeah, it's so easy to spend so much time in front of the screen, especially watching YouTube videos and So a lot of mine is games, little solitaire games or whatever. Moving the cubes around. So we've got, most of mine came up games, social media, and YouTube, which it's a little bit, like I kind of have to be on there for some of that because I run a YouTube channel and I post farm things to Instagram and to Facebook, but not all of my social media is business related. Sometimes it's just snooping people's Facebook and see what's up with my friends and family. Yes, those cubes need to be moved. They do, but so do hay bales. Gotta make a choice. All right, so Kathy says, after I spend hours outside, I put my legs up and have iced tea and brush my puppies. Unfortunately, my phone has to always be on 24/7. Oh, Mom H, that's so sad when we lose videos. You know what happened like a couple weeks ago? I am so glad I have a techie husband because I was editing Carter's high school graduation video and I was just doing a rough edit, like just like speaker, songs, whatever, just cutting out the non-happening stuff time and just putting a straight edit together. And my little external hard drive wire got jiggled. I forget what happened. Did it come disconnected or something? Because I moved. I was sitting on the sofa and I moved and it came disconnected and I lost her graduation video. It said the file was corrupted and I was just like in panic mode. And I went online and tried to figure out how to do it and all this stuff and Chris came home and he's like, click, 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 click. The original file's right here. I was like, what? How did you do that? I don't even care how you did. I'm just so glad you did. But oh, it's so scary when that kind of stuff happens, especially because other kinds of video for the channel, like I could redo most of the time. I mean, unless you're building something, but you know, you can't redo a graduation video. And the only thing I was like, thank goodness it's 2019 when certainly someone else out there has a video of it. Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't like, and it wasn't even great video because it was just with my phone from the stands. It wasn't like anything high tech, but just to have. And then I was thinking about it. I was like, I think we were so busy at Leslie's graduation because she was homeschooled. And so we were like doing the graduation. We had a graduation and a party for her all in one building. And I'm like, I don't even think we took video at your graduation, Leslie. No. Poor kid. It's usually not the first child that misses out on that kind of stuff. She's okay with it though. You've got the memories, don't you? Let's see. And pictures, yeah. But I got it back, so let's see. Do you feel guilty when not accomplishing some things? I do. I don't typically. I realized not too long ago in life that I only have so much energy and I only have so much time. And that I'm going to get done what I get done, and whatever doesn't get done can always be done tomorrow. I do what I do, not exactly feel guilty about, but what I wish I would have done differently now looking back is, and I was thinking about this today when I was driving the car, is not, I wish I would have been more present with my children when they were little. And I spent a lot of time with them, and we did a lot of things together, but I also did work part-time, and I don't know, I feel like it went by so fast, and so I think that's one thing I would have done differently. But typically, no, I don't feel too guilty about not doing things. And especially, I have learned to not feel guilty about saying no to things that other people want me to do. I have a job that is basically full-time. I run my own business, an interpreting business. And in addition to that, I have the YouTube channel, and I put up 2 edited videos a week. Each of those are about 10 minutes a video, and those each take me 6 or 7 hours of editing in addition to whatever time it took filming. And whatever time that it takes to do a project on the farm, it takes 3 times as long if you're filming it. So I know people talk about YouTubers being kind of whiny about how hard it is being a YouTuber, and I'm not intending to come across that way. So please don't take that. I love doing it. I really do. I love doing it. If I didn't, I would stop. But the fact is, it does take time to do that. And in addition to that, then I have the farm that I'm trying to make productive and profitable so that I can work less interpreting and more farm. So, you know, I have to take care of animals, and I have to learn to grow food and preserve food and all of those other things. And then just run a household, run a family. So all of that takes a lot of time. And those are the things that I feel called to. I feel called to work. I feel called to farming and to my family. And so I don't feel pressure to do other things. If people ask me to do something, I don't do it out of guilt. If I choose to say yes, then I don't complain about it because it's something I have chosen to take on. If it's something that I don't feel I need to spend my time on, I just say, no, I'm not available for that. I've learned that I don't have to give an excuse. I don't have to have a reason why I can't come to their social or bake a pie for their sale or show up and be room mom. Well, I don't have to anymore because my kids are grown, but that's why. Somebody has a question about interpreting. Tamara and I are ASL interpreters. I have my own business, so I interpret doctor's appointments, court, Branson shows like plays and musicals and stuff, job interviews. Did I send medical appointments? I do a lot of medical appointments. I sub in the schools when the regular interpreters are out. So I'm somewhere different every day. I work all over southern Missouri and northern Arkansas. It's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of time. So that was a long answer to the question about, do I feel guilty? I try not to. Guilt is not necessarily a very productive feeling. I think conviction, if you are convicted that something you are doing is wrong, then you need to repent and change. But I think guilt doesn't serve us. I haven't found it to be a good motivator in my life, and all it does is make you feel bad about yourself. So if you are feeling guilty about something you're not doing, then if you are a believer, I would pray about it and see, is it something that you really need to be doing? And if it is, then I would make that a priority. And if it isn't something you really need to be doing, then stop feeling guilty. Just don't do it. Dishes will still be there tomorrow, ready for me to wash if I don't get to them today. Laundry can be folded tomorrow. I mean, there's lots of things that can be done tomorrow if it doesn't get done today. So you have to major on the majors, right? And as always, this is all my opinion. I'm just hanging out with you guys because you're my friends. Yeah, oh, that's a good idea. Timmy says you can always pick 5 things that didn't get done yesterday and get them done the next day. Like you can move them to the top of your priority list, right? Or like me, you can just keep adding laundry to the clean pile on the table and go. I'll fold it eventually. Oh, one other thing I want to share with you guys. This was something that I learned from my cousin. Oh man, my girls were little. They must have been toddlers. So a long time ago, she's a teacher. And she said that at their school, there was this one teacher that always had all this amazing stuff and was always like, she would make some kind of manipulatives for her classroom or whatever. And she would make 3 sets for her other 3 co-teachers in the same grade, right? Or she would be, hanging pictures on the walls or whatever. And that they would say to her, like, how can you do this? She's like, oh, it only took 5 minutes. Oh, it only took 5 minutes. And so my cousin said that she started timing herself to see how long did it actually take her to do these tasks that she was putting off. And that most of the time it really only did take about 5 minutes. And that a lot of times a task is more overwhelming and time consuming in our mind than it is in reality. And I have also found that to be true, that thing that I'm dreading, for me, a lot of times it's my business paperwork. I'm like, I feel like it's going to take a whole day and good, and, you know, that kind of thing. And so, um, I'll put it off and put it off and put it off. And then when I actually sit down to do it, it's like, oh, half an hour, I'm done. Oh, that was it. File a couple receipts and write a check. Not a big deal. But it's like, I just think, oh man, I just hate doing that. It's going to take all day and I'd rather be in the garden or whatever. So sometimes I find that if I tell myself, okay, I'm going to do it for 15 minutes, and if it's not done, then it's not done. But I'll get up and do it right then. And then if we think about the 5-second rule that we talked about way back in the beginning, you know, when you have that like, oh, I really should get up, but I just want, nope, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get up and do it. So things get done a little more. So I think that's a, guys, all I have time for tonight. Is there any last comments and or thoughts before we go? And I'll let you guys say goodbye to each other, and then I'm going to head out. So thank you to everybody who came and hung out with us for a little while tonight. I really enjoyed it, and I hope it was valuable to you. Take what you can, and don't forget to ask me next week about my 3 things. Anybody remember what the 3 things were? Do I remember, Leslie? Plug in my phone after dinner. Use my alarm clock instead of my phone. Write down the stuff that comes to mind that's like niggling at the back of my mind. Those are my 3 things that I'm going to work on this week, and we'll talk about it next week. Good night.